cold winter night, I recall summer days.
Women's Spirit does this shawl ceremony at the beginning of events or meetings to honor domestic violence and sexual assault victims and survivors. In 2007, this ceremony was gifted to Women's Spirit by an Alaska elder named Jessie Johnny. It is through her generosity we have been able to do this ceremony at the request of others who want to open their events and meetings in a good way. We do this in honor of victims and survivors who are not able to be with us today, and ask that during this ceremony you give them honor and hold them in your memory for the duration of the program.
I call out your name, I'll be waiting for you.
We're going to begin with the purple shawl, which represents domestic violence victims.
With flowers in bloom, she was sharing my smile. With all my soul, I miss you. Please find the strength to break free and come home. You're here in my heart. You are never alone. Where did you go? I long for your voice. Rings clear in my mind, like a whisper or choice.
We ask that while we wrap this chair, that you hold domestic violence victims and survivors in a place of honor. And we ask that you, for the next few moments, have silence.
Will you come home again?
The teal shawl represents sexual assault victims and survivors.
Where did you go? I long for your voice. Rings clear in my mind, like a whisper or choice. Where did you go? I call.
And as we're wrapping the chair, we ask that you honor and remember them with a moment of silence.
Come home again. Where did you go? I long for your voice. Rings clear in my mind.
The white shawl represents the LGBTQ community.
Where did you go? I call out your name. I'll be missing you. Won't you come home again?
And as we wrap the chair, we ask that you honor and remember them with a few seconds of silence.
On this cold winter night.
The next shawl that we have is the red shawl, representing missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls.
Fall and spring's misty haze, her words echo strong, her laughter and tears.
And as we wrap the chair, we ask that you honor them and hold them in remembrance with a few seconds of silence.
Where did you go? I call out your name. I'll be waiting for you.
As is our tradition, we're going to leave the shawls up for the duration of the meeting or event. And with remembrance and honor, they will oversee the proceedings and remind us why we're here and why we do this sacred work. And at the end of the event, we will retire the shawls. Thank you for participating.
To break free and come home, you're here in my heart.
So we've reached the end of the event, and we are going to place the shawls back on the arms of the women who brought them out, and we're going to retire them for the duration of today. So we're going to ask that the red shawl be retired. The red shawl represents murdered and missing Indigenous women and girls. And in removing the shawls from the chair, once again, please honor those victims and survivors with a moment of silence.
Will you come home again?
The next shawl to retire is the white shawl, representing LGBTQ victims and survivors. And as we remove the shawl from the chair, with a moment of silence, please remember and honor LGBTQ victims and survivors.
Where did you go?
The next shawl to retire is the teal shawl, representing sexual assault victims and survivors. And as we remove the teal shawl from the chair, with a moment of silence, please remember and honor all sexual assault victims. The purple shawl represents domestic violence victims and survivors. And as we remove the shawl from the chair, with a moment of silence, please honor and remember all domestic violence and sexual assault victims.
I long for your voice, rings clear in my mind, like a whisper or choice. Where did you go?
Thank you for participating in Women's Spirit Shawl Ceremony and honoring all of our victims that we've represented with our shawls.